Hello viewers! In this video I'm going to show you the art I made over the course of 1 week. I will start by saying I do not always produce so many finished pieces in a week. It really is dependent on what medium I'm using. For example, if I'm sewing, I'll typically work on one piece over several weeks. Same with paper mache, simply because it's a medium that requires more patience when waiting for things to dry. But I guess I am thankful that the week of art I chose to film ended up being one chock full of inspiration. Just know, this doesn't represent every week. However, it is the reality that I often jump between mediums. I enjoy the variety and the opportunity to try something new. To start off the week, I'm playing with some gouache. This Himi gouache is seriously everywhere on my pages lately, and funny enough, my sister had some and she so lovingly borrowed it to me. Let it be known, I still have yet to return it to her, and I'm recording this 1 month later. Thank you, Kira, for your contribution. I've worked with acrylic gouache before, but this was only my second attempt with the regular gouache. Personally, I don't consider myself skilled with watercolors, and this gouache behaves similarly in the way that it reacts with water, unlike the acrylic gouache I'm used to. But this is how I learned. At this point, you can see I'm painting a person. It's me. It's a self-portrait. A simple, long-necked, funny-looking one. Here I'm using my polychromos pencils to add shaded details. For the background, I used a light wash of the paint I used for the shirt. I didn't like the eyelashes, so I covered those up and worked on some hair details while it dried. I really enjoy adding these big, round, rosy circles on the cheeks for my characters and animals lately. And also, check out that butt chin. It's a staple. Glasses are, of course, a necessity. And once again, going in with those pencil crayons to add little details. And there it is. I often draw while on my coffee breaks at work. I am currently fortunate enough to have my own office, so I put my on a break sticky note on the door and hunker down with my pencils. I'm trying to create a gallery in our stairwell at home, so I needed to sketch out a Ben portrait to paint in a similar fashion to mine. I also had time to doodle some pups and sketch out a couple of stamp ideas. I definitely need to make that little orange. Once I was home, I did a 10-second tidy. Are there any big comfy couch fans watching? And so I could get into some stamp carving. As you saw before, I wanted to make this happy mail stamp. I had been sitting on this square lino block since September, so it was time to try it out. First, I used the block to create an outline so I could resize the stamp to fit right onto it. Once I perfected it, I transferred it onto some tracing paper. Now, I assumed the pencil would rub off onto the block similar to the way it rubbed onto the rubber stamps I had done in my stamp carving video. But this was not the case. I ended up tracing with a pencil and then darkened the lines so I could see what I was doing. This was the first time I had ever worked with the lino block material, and it was so hard to cut into. It is possible the carving tools I have are not meant for anything besides rubber stamps, but you can definitely see the struggle here. I will say, however, the curly little strands that are created are very satisfying. The lettering was unsurprisingly the hardest part. Now for the best part, the stamping. I first tried stamping using my ink pad, and that was a fail. So I tried the block printing ink that came with my kit. Talk about messy. And again, it didn't quite work. One more try, and I made sure to load up the ink and really put pressure on the piece. After that attempt was fairly unsuccessful, I had created quite the mess, and I called it a night. I have officially added lino block cutting to my list of research opportunities. These next two clips are from a mini Easter-themed spoof of the Blair Witch Project that I concocted with the help of Ben and Ren, of course.
Oh, you're blurry. Let me just zoom out a bit here. Okay.
This is my home, which I will not be leaving the comforts of this weekend because I'm exploring the Easter Bunny Project. Okay, that's a bad omen. Random but making silly videos is an occasional art form of mine, so there you go. Since it was Easter weekend, I was busy with family on Friday, but now we're at Saturday. I love to get up early on the weekends, get into my projects, this one being Ben's Easter hunt. Yes, I'm 27 going on 28, and yes, my mom does Easter hunts for us, and Ben and I will often create one for one another as well. This year, my mom did Easter games, which was fun, difficult, and something new we hadn't tried. In the afternoon, my big sister and I did some painting with the gouache she borrowed to me, and this is when I painted a portrait of my one true love, sorry Ben, Hellmann's mayonnaise. Once again, Sunday was for family and delicious Easter food, but come Monday, my big sister went home, and my mom and Ben were leaving for a holiday, so I started my crafty day in the afternoon with some admin work to prep content for my YouTube and my Instagram. I decided the background I'd originally done was just too light and I needed the mayo to shine more. I used my iPad to try out a few background colors and landed on a light purple to contrast the yellow tones. I am really obsessed with this one, and if you can believe it, Hellmann's Mayo, or Hellmann's Canada actually, commented on my Instagram post, and it was like interacting with a celebrity. It was then time to add the two missing pieces of my silly gouache portrait puzzle, starting with Ben. This makes me want to crack the gouache out right now watching this, which I honestly might do once I finish editing. I will say the pencil crayons work wonders on top of this gouache, and thankfully I had all the right colors in my small collection of the Polychromos pencils. Last but not least, our little fur baby, Wren. At this point, I thought it was done, but do you notice something funny about her? I forgot her ears. Much better. And here we are all together, featuring a rogue toilet paper roll, please ignore. Sometime over the weekend, I had the realization that lately I've been really into the color palette of pastel pink and green with this bluish purple, and the colors were reminiscent of the no-name Space Pops. Those popsicles were a childhood staple, and so naturally I painted myself a two-sided painting, one side with my version of the colors and the other with the original colors. Do you remember these popsicles? On Tuesday, I was preparing to stay at my mom and Graham's house while they were both out of town, so I did some more admin. Not really sure what I'm singing along to here, because I seem to be enjoying it, but also I seem unimpressed. Anyways, I needed to pack some art supplies for my time away. Even though we only live a few blocks away, it was easier than coming and going. Now, I guess this video is technically art for a week plus one day. This will be the final craft for this video, and it is the remake of my Happy Mail stamp. This time using rubber instead of the lino block. Back to what I know. Right off the bat, the process was going a lot smoother for me. Once I transferred the image, I traced it with a pen so the lines were thicker and easier to cut around. I used an X-Acto knife to trace the lines so I would hopefully avoid the choppy look I had experienced the first time I tried stamp carving. And then it was time to carve. This stamp came out so much better than using the rubber, and I've since used it to decorate a few pieces of mail. I love it. I hope you had fun walking through this art week with me. I'd love to know in the comments what type of art you get up to during the week. Instagram saw it first, so if you aren't following me there at Picky Creative Co., go check it out. The link will be below, and as always, thank you for tuning in.